Driven by Mike Castrucci Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Fairfax. Now accepting same-day service and repair appointments regardless of your place of purchase. That's Mike Castrucci Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram.
You're listening to 700 WLW, also available on 94.5 FM W233BG Cincinnati.
What's happening? How long, by the way, can I still say? It's the 2nd of January, so if I say Happy New Year, it's not like overkill, right? I mean, it's still fresh. It's brand new. It's like a baby New Year. Now, next week, if I'm here, which I will be at some point, I don't know. I don't have my calendar out. It's the only way I know how I'm going to be, wherever I'm going to be, when I'm going to be there. You know what I mean? And then if I'm lucky, I remember. Otherwise, it can be in the calendar, and then I'm like, I didn't look. And then you're in a world of hurt. But how long can you say Happy New Year? I mean, you give it a week? You give it 3 days? You stretch it through this weekend, and then that's it? I'm not sure what's appropriate. I had a neighbor who, this is terrible, and it reminded me of a friend of mine who got stuck on his roof. Not even our Willie. Our Willie got help from the fire department to get off his roof a number of years ago. Then it turned into a revenue-generating opportunity and a promotion in advertising, which is fantastic because that's the kind of place we are. And he's the kind of Marconi winner that he is, our Willie. But another friend of mine fell off his roof trying to get off the ladder and ended up having surgery and staples and all kinds of weird, I think a plate in his arm and stuff. And my neighbor this morning, I was out with the dog, as I do regularly, otherwise he'd drive me insane or kill me in my sleep or go in the house, and none of those options are acceptable. And I run into my neighbor, and he's hobbling along, and he goes, dude, I almost killed myself. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I was taking the lights off the gutters, and apparently he had a problem, like the ads have been saying about the ladder being dangerous. And I'm like, why didn't you ask me for help? He's like, I'm not trying to bother anybody. I'm grown. I can do it. And I'm like, what about your kids? Why didn't you hire somebody? And I think he needs to get some serious look at his knee or whatever. And then he's like, it's time to get the lights off. It's after New Year's. And I'm like, the real cold and the real ice and the real darkness and frozen tundra of winter is yet to arrive. I used to be real serious about yank those lights down. Christmas is over. I'm ready for warm weather. But I've opened up, I've grown, I'm more, I figure it's your business, not my business. Whatever you do, don't be climbing on ladders when it's cold and icy to get the lights off like my neighbor Bill. It's not a good situation. I'm glad he was all right to tell me as he was hobbling along with his dog, talking to me with my dog earlier today, but very unnerving either way. So, I mean, you could be like one friend of mine. They basically never took that. One room, I think they had like in total like 8 or 10 Christmas trees. And there was one room that it was all Christmas all year. And I'm not sure. I used to think it was really creepy and strange. And now I realize that perhaps it was just a place where you could walk in and go, oh, life is good after all, like a legal drug, and then take a breath out of there and then shut the door and move on. But, you got to make a choice for yourself. And you can't do that with a living tree, by the way, because you'd be a fire hazard, and that's another problem altogether. And who wants to deal with that? I mean, water your trees if you haven't got rid of the trees, and then you can get them chopped up and use them as mulch, or just don't. I saw like a number of them along the roadway in the last couple of days where apparently either people had them tied to the roof of their car or maybe in the back of a truck or something, I don't know, and they flew out. I can't imagine somebody just driving along 71 and tossing a tree out, but who the hell knows anymore? Strange days. Scott Fitzgerald, CPA from Roth & Co. CPA.com, going to join us after the 10 o'clock report about legal sports betting and your winnings and losses and what it may mean for your taxes. That's next after your 10 o'clock report. Sean Gallagher has it. Sterling here on a Tuesday night. Home of those Bengals, home of the Reds, your basketball Bearcats, excuse me, and also, of course, those Xavier Musketeers in action tomorrow night. I think they got Villanova right here on 700 WLW Cincinnati.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Fewer deaths on Ohio roads between Thanksgiving and New Year's. With the 10 o'clock report, I'm Sean Gallagher. Breaking now. Ohio law enforcement providing figures regarding traffic accidents and fatalities as the holiday season wrapped up this past weekend.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol says 7 people died in a half dozen crashes over the New Year's holiday, and nearly all of them were not wearing a seatbelt. Still, the number number is a major decrease from the same period a year ago when 13 people were killed on Ohio roads. The State Patrol previously reported a major drop in the number of people killed over Christmas. 9 people lost their lives in 8 crashes this Christmas, which is the fewest number of deaths over the Christmas reporting period in 5 years. I'm Matt Reese. News Radio 700 WLW.
Now the latest traffic and weather together, taking a look at the major interstates and highways. No new reported accident.
Now the latest forecast from the Advanced Dentistry Weather Center. Advanced Dentistry, the judgment-free dental experience you've been looking for. NoFearDentist.com.
Heading into our Wednesday morning, mostly cloudy, a 7 a.m. temperature of 28 degrees. Our Wednesday then is mostly cloudy through the day, a chance of flurries or a couple of raindrops in the afternoon, a high of 43. At night, mostly cloudy, and we're down to 27. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning Chief Meteorologist Steve Raleigh. News Radio 700 WLW.
Clear skies and currently 30 degrees. The Senate left for the holiday break with no deal on U.S. southern border funding and added restrictions, but tonight the White House says talks are moving in the right direction.
Biden administration officials saying they're encouraged about border talks in the Senate that would call for more enforcement agents and tougher rules on what migrants will be allowed into the U.S. The president's aides also saying they made progress with their meeting in Mexico last week on that country, helping stop the flow of undocumented migrants. Despite the positive progress report, there's still no word from the Senate on any pending deal.
ABC News' Andy Field. Today, Inauguration Day in Cincinnati, as city council members were sworn in at Music Hall. 8 members won re-election in November, with Anna Albee the only new member of council. She fills the seat previously held by council member Liz Keating, who was the only Republican on council but failed to win re-election. All 9 members are Democrats, a first in the city's modern history. The Kentucky General Assembly began its legislative session today with a lengthy debate over rules and procedures. A recent review by the League of Women Voters found that lawmakers increasingly have relied on fast-track maneuvers to pass bills, giving Kentuckians little or no time to offer input. The tactics are used most frequently at the end of the legislative session. The Republican-controlled House and Senate in Kentucky have adopted the same rules as in previous years. Democrats argued for the rules to be changed to give lawmakers and constituents more time to weigh in on legislation. On Wednesday night, Governor Andy Beshear will address lawmakers in his State of the Commonwealth starting at 7 o'clock. College basketball tonight, the Miami Redhawks fall at home to Western Michigan 83-74. Our next update is at 10:30. I'm Sean Gallagher, News Radio 700 WLW.
This report is sponsored by the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeart Media can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else. And we can give you access to those potential customers more cost effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeart Media can work for you. From your cell, dial pound 250 and say keyword great results. That's pound 250 and say great results.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm Sarah Kustak, NBA analyst for the Brooklyn Nets, and my podcast, NBA Pulse with Sarah Kustak, is back.
The Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
Every Monday and Friday, I'll be joined by a top NBA writer to discuss the biggest stories in the league. And we'll do it in about 15 minutes, so you can stay up to date and keep it moving.
So who's looking at it?
Check out NBA Pulse with Sarah Kustak on the iHeartRadio app for wherever you listen to podcasts.
Well, it's that time of year. Sterling back 700 WLW. The end of the year, the new year upon us, and in the distance you can hear 1099s and W-2s being printed in mass, soon in mailboxes, electronically distributed, and the tax man waiting happily for extra checks, and maybe if you're lucky, a refund. And kind enough to give us some time. In a window of our history, the first year of legal sports betting away from, say, sports books and that type of thing with handheld devices and apps all over the state means a whole lot of people might have a situation where they've had winnings and maybe some losses that could affect their tax situation. Scott Fitzgerald